Nature has a rule we don't like to talk about. Eat or be eaten is the foundation of every food chain on Earth. But some animals have taken that rule and turned it inward. They eat their own species, their own family, in some cases their own children. And the reasons why are far more calculated, far more biological, and far more disturbing than you might expect. This isn't a glitch in nature, it's a strategy. One that has evolved independently in hundreds of species across every continent on Earth. And once you understand why they do it, you'll never look at the animal kingdom the same way again. This is every animal that eats its own kind, explained. The black widow spider, Latrodectus. The black widow spider is perhaps the most famous cannibal in nature, and most of what you've heard about it is slightly wrong. The female black widow does sometimes eat the male after mating. But it's not automatic, and it's not random. Studies show that males who are older, smaller, or lower quality are far more likely to be eaten. The female is, in the most literal biological sense, quality controlling her gene pool. She gets nutrition to support the eggs from males who are already at the end of their reproductive usefulness. In some observed cases, the male actively assists the process, somersaulting into the female's mouthparts mid-mating in what researchers call voluntary sexual cannibalism. The theory. By being eaten, he ensures the female is well fed and less likely to mate again, making him the exclusive father of her eggs. Of all the species in this video, the black widow may be the one practicing the most rational form of cannibalism, which somehow makes it more unsettling. Now over to the sand tiger shark, Carcharias taurus. The sand tiger shark begins its life by committing murder, before it is even born. The female sand tiger shark has 2 uteruses. Multiple embryos develop in each one simultaneously. The moment the first embryo is large enough while still inside the mother, it turns and eats every other embryo around it. Then it eats any unfertilized eggs. It does this in both uteruses. The mother gives birth to exactly 2 pups, the 2 survivors of an in utero battle of elimination that began weeks before they were born. This process is called intrauterine cannibalism, or more specifically, adelphivia, sibling eating. The result is that sand tiger shark pups are born fully developed, enormous relative to their size, and with a stomach already full. They are immediately capable of surviving independently. The siblings they ate gave them that head start. Scientists discovered this by accident in the 1980s when a researcher was bitten by a shark embryo while examining a pregnant female. The pup, still inside the womb, had already developed the instinct to attack. This one is personal for a lot of people. Hamsters, including the domestic species kept as pets worldwide, are documented cannibals. A mother hamster under stress, in a disturbed environment, or with insufficient food will eat her own litter. This is not a malfunction. It is a cold biological calculation. The mother's body has invested enormous resources into pregnancy. If her environment signals that survival conditions are poor, too much human handling, inadequate food, perceived threat, a litter that is too large to sustain, she reclaims that investment. By consuming the pups, she recovers the protein and nutrients she spent. She can then produce another litter when conditions improve. Wild European hamsters, which are now critically endangered, exhibit this behavior when agricultural changes disrupt their food supply. A diet too high in corn, a result of modern monoculture farming, has been linked to a specific vitamin, B3 deficiency that causes erratic behavior, including infanticide and cannibalism in wild populations. An animal that has survived for millions of years is being driven to eat its young by the way humans farm corn. Next on our list is the praying mantis mantidea. The praying mantis has one of the most widely known and most misunderstood cannibalism stories in nature. Female praying mantises do eat males during mating, but not always and not randomly. It occurs in roughly 25% of observed encounters in the wild, significantly less than early lab studies suggested, which was skewed by the stress of captivity. What makes this case fascinating is the biology of what happens when she does. If the female bites off the male's head during mating, his body does not stop. Decapitation removes the brain, which in insects actively suppresses mating behavior. Without the brain, the headless male's body continues mating with greater intensity. He delivers more sperm or she gets better fertilization. He is, effectively, more useful to reproduction dead than alive. The female then consumes the rest of his body, gaining the protein she needs to produce a larger, healthier egg case. Some males have been observed approaching a female, being eaten from the head down, and completing the mating process as a headless torso. Evolution, it turns out, is completely indifferent to dignity. Next on our list is the chimpanzee pan-troglodytes. Everything up to this point has been instinct-driven. What chimpanzees do is different. What chimpanzees do is planned. Chimpanzees live in groups with strict territorial boundaries. When a group grows large enough, males organize coordinated patrols into rival territory. These are not random encounters. They move in silence in single file, stopping to listen. When they find an isolated chimp from a rival group, alone, injured, or young, they attack as a unit, and they kill. And in documented cases, they consume the body. Jane Goodall was the first to document this behavior in the 1970s at Goemb. She described it as one of the most disturbing discoveries of her career, because it shattered the prevailing belief that organized lethal violence was uniquely human. Chimpanzees conduct what can only be described as warfare, with territorial expansion, strategic ambush, and the systematic elimination of rival populations. Researchers have since documented entire neighboring groups being wiped out over years-long campaigns. The victors expand into the defeated group's territory. This pattern is disturbingly familiar to students of human history. Now on our list, we got the crowned eagle Stephonoartus coronatus. The crowned eagle is Africa's most powerful bird of prey. It hunts monkeys, small antelopes, and baboons. It has talons capable of cracking a human skull, and in its nest, it practices something called the Cain and Abel syndrome, one of the most routinely brutal events in the natural world. Crowned eagles almost always lay 2 eggs. The first egg hatches several days before the second. By the time the second chick hatches, the first is already larger, stronger, and immediately aggressive. In the vast majority of observed nests, the elder chick attacks, kills, and in many documented cases consumes the younger one within the first days of life, while the parents watch and do not intervene. This seems wasteful. Why lay 2 eggs at all? The second egg is biological insurance. If the first egg fails to hatch, or the first chick dies early, the species has a backup. The second chick is not intended to survive. It exists to be a contingency plan. If both hatch, the contingency is no longer needed, and the elder chick eliminates it. The parents have been raising only children for millions of years. They know exactly what they are watching. They do nothing because nothing needs to be done. The system is working exactly as designed. Then we have the Komodo Dragon, Varanus komodoensis. The Komodo Dragon is the largest lizard on Earth. It can reach 3 meters in length and 70 kilograms. It hunts deer, water buffalo, and occasionally humans. And it regularly eats its own young. Adult Komodo dragons are so aggressive toward juveniles that the young have developed a specific survival strategy. They climb trees immediately after hatching and live there for the first year of their lives because adults do not climb. When they must descend to eat, to drink, they roll in the feces and intestinal matter of large prey animals. Adult Komodos, which identify food primarily by smell, do not recognize the scent as a juvenile. The smell of rotting prey masks them. Young Komodos also move differently around adults, adopting submissive postures, moving slowly, keeping to the edges. They are essentially living undercover in their own family group in disguise for the first year of their existence. Of all the survival adaptations in this video, a baby lizard disguising itself in dung to avoid being eaten by its own parent may be the most grimly creative solution evolution has ever produced.
Tiger salamanders belong to a group of salamanders known as mole salamanders because they spend nearly all of their lives in underground burrows.
When food runs low, some larvae transform into a physically different form.
In the late winter and early spring, tiger salamanders migrate to ponds.
Under normal conditions, tiger salamander larvae have small, rounded heads suited for eating invertebrates. But when population density is high and food is scarce, some individuals undergo a physical transformation. Their heads enlarge, dramatically dot their teeth, become longer and curved inward, designed to grip struggling prey. Their digestive systems change to process protein more efficiently. They have become, in the most literal sense, a different animal. These cannibal morphs target other salamander larvae, including their own siblings. Studies show they preferentially eat non-siblings when they can detect the difference, presumably preserving some of their shared genetic material. But when resources are critical enough, they eat family without hesitation.
Tiger salamanders belong to a group of salamanders known as mole salamanders
is reversible.
because they spend nearly all of
If
their
food becomes
lives.
plentiful again, the cannibal morph can revert toward a more standard form. The salamander's body is a survival tool it reshapes as needed. A spider that eats her mate to protect her eggs. A shark that eliminates its siblings before birth. A salamander that grows a new head to eat its family. A parent eagle that watches its child die and chooses not to stop it. None of this is cruelty. None of this is evil. It is nature being exactly what it has always been, brutally, efficiently, magnificently indifferent to our discomfort. The natural world does not operate on our terms. It operates on survival, Dart, and sometimes survival looks like this. Subscribe to Nature GPT, because the natural world is stranger, darker, and more fascinating than anything we could make up.